There is a legend in the Philippines about a creature that does not always look like a monster. During the day, it can smile like a neighbor, walk like a normal person, live inside a quiet village, and make everyone believe it is human. But when night comes, the body changes. The hunger wakes up, and the thing that looked like a person becomes something else. This is the Aswang, one of the most feared creatures in Filipino folklore. Not because it only hides deep inside forests, not because it only appears in abandoned places, but because, according to the legend, the Aswang can live close to you. It can be someone people know, someone they pass in the street, someone they trust. And that is what makes this story so disturbing. The Aswang is not just one monster. It is a name given to different supernatural beings, all connected by one dark idea, a human-looking creature that transforms at night and feeds in the living. In some stories, the Aswang is like a vampire. In others, it is a shapeshifter. Sometimes, it is described as a witch. Sometimes, as a corpse eater. Sometimes, as a creature that can turn into a dog, a pig, a bird, or something that moves silently through the dark. But the most terrifying version is the one that hunts at night, especially the weak, the sick, the dying, and in some of the darkest stories, pregnant women and unborn children. That is why the Aswang became such a powerful legend. It was not only a monster story. It was a fear passed through families, whispered in villages, used as a warning after sunset. Because in the old stories, when an Aswang was near, the night itself felt wrong. Dogs would bark at nothing. Chickens would become restless. The air would feel heavy, and people believed. If you heard strange sounds outside your home, you should not open the door, because the thing outside might not be asking to come in. It might already be looking for a way to feed. One of the most disturbing powers of the Aswang is its ability to disguise itself. During the day, it can appear normal, quiet, friendly, even harmless. But at night, it becomes a predator. Some legends say it grows wings, some say its body changes shape, and some say it separates from its lower half, leaving part of its body behind, while the upper half flies into the darkness. This version is especially feared because it does not walk toward its victims. It flies above them. It lands on rooftops. It waits near windows, and it searches for people who cannot defend themselves. In some stories, the Aswang uses a long tongue, thin, sharp, and unnatural. It lowers this tongue through small openings, through roofs, through cracks, through windows, and uses it to reach its victim without ever entering the room. That is why people feared strange noises above the house at night. A scratch on the roof, a soft movement in the dark, a sound that feels too close, but impossible to see. Because according to the legend, by the time you realize what is above you, it might already be too late. But how does the Aswang kill? The answer depends on the version of the story. Some Aswang drink blood, some eat human flesh, some feed on organs, some attack the sick and dying because they are easier to take. And some stories say the Aswang can replace a person's body with a fake version made from things like banana trunks, so the family does not realize what happened at first. This detail makes the legend even more disturbing, because the horror is not only being killed, it is the idea that the monster could take someone, leave behind a lie, and disappear before anyone understands the truth. That is why the Aswang was feared, not just as a creature, but as a hidden threat inside the community. A monster that could pretend, a monster that could deceive, a monster that could walk among humans and wait for the perfect night. But how does someone become an Aswang? This is one of the darkest parts of the folklore. In many stories, a person does not become an Aswang by accident. The curse is passed down. sometimes through family bloodlines, sometimes from one Aswang to another. Some legends say, when an old Aswang is dying, it must pass its dark power to someone else, almost like giving away a curse. In other versions, someone becomes an Aswang through witchcraft, dark rituals, or by accepting supernatural power. But the price is never small, because becoming an Aswang means losing part of your humanity. You may still look human. You may still speak like a person. You may still live among people. But inside, something has changed. The hunger becomes stronger than the heart. The night becomes more natural than the day. And the people around you stop being neighbors and become prey. That is the real horror of becoming an Aswang. It is not only turning into a monster, it is hiding the monster inside a human life. Imagine someone living in a village, speaking normally, laughing with others, being invited into homes, while secretly waiting for night, waiting for sickness, waiting for weakness, waiting for the moment when no one is watching. This is why suspicion became a major part of the Aswang legend. If someone behaved strangely, if someone lived alone, if someone was seen at odd hours, if animals reacted badly around them, people might begin to whisper, maybe that person is not normal, maybe they are cursed, maybe they are one of them. And once that fear entered a village, it could spread fast. Because the Aswang legend does not only scare people with teeth and claws, it scares people with doubt. Who can you trust? Who is really human? Who changes when the sun goes down? In some versions, there are ways to detect an Aswang. People believed certain oils, mirrors, or spiritual objects could reveal the truth. Some stories say its reflection may look different. Others say it may be repelled by garlic.salt. Religious symbols or sharp objects. But the most important protection was awareness. Do not ignore the dogs barking at midnight. Do not trust every sound outside your house. Do not walk alone at night. And if someone feels too interested in the sick, the dying, or the unborn, be careful. Because in the world of this legend, the Aswang does not always attack loudly. Sometimes it waits, sometimes it watches, sometimes it pretends to care. And then, when the house is quiet and everyone is asleep, it comes closer. That is what makes the Aswang different from many other monsters. A ghost haunts one place. A demon reveals itself through terror. A beast shows its claws. But the Aswang survives by hiding. It is powerful because people do not see it coming. It is frightening because it wears the face of normal life. And it is remembered because it touches one of the deepest fears in any community, the fear that evil is not far away. It may already be living next door. Maybe the Aswang legend was created to explain real fears: fear of death, fear of disease, fear of strangers, fear of pregnancy complications, fear of people who did not fit into society. In villages where sudden illness or death had no clear explanation, a monster like the Aswang gave people something to blame, something to fear, something to warn children about. But legends do not survive only because they are false. They survive because they carry emotions that feel real, and the Aswang carries many of them. The fear of being watched, the fear of being eaten by something pretending to be human, the fear that the person smiling in daylight might become a nightmare after dark. So maybe the Aswang is only folklore. Maybe it is only a story passed down through generations. But in the Philippines, this legend became more than a monster tale. It became a shadow in the village, a warning from elders, a reason to close the windows at night, and a reminder that sometimes the scariest creature is not the one hiding in the forest. It is the one that already knows your name, your house, your family, and the exact moment when you are most vulnerable. So if the dogs start barking at nothing, if something scratches above your roof, if someone outside calls softly in the dark, do not answer too quickly, because according to the legend, the Aswang does not always break into your home. Sometimes, it waits for you to invite it closer.